I like this summer glow I've got going on. It's this new highlighter I'm trying out called Sweat. It's gorgeous. Okay, it's hot as balls in the room that I'm filming in right now, but this is where I get the best lighting, so I haven't put a video out for you guys in about 3 weeks, and like a bunch of stuff was just preventing me from getting videos out. Like my tripod broke and I need to go get a new one, and so I thought I would do a story time video. And since it's back to school soon, I figured I would do my college roommate horror story, I guess you would say. I don't know if this is a horror story, just bad. My freshman year when my roommate stole my clothes. So I'm just gonna start from the very beginning so I can give you guys like background about how like me and this girl moved in together and all that. I look like a grease bucket right now. Oh my god, I'm so sorry guys. I didn't realize like how sweaty I really look. Anyway, so okay. When I was a freshman, this was the 2012-2013 school year, I moved in to my dorm, and my roommate's name was Caitlin, and this was the first roommate I had. Me and her were really cool, like we didn't have any issues or anything like that, but the thing was she worked on the complete other side of campus, and she worked at Taco Bell, so her shifts were like always really late at night, because you know Taco Bell's open till like 4 in the morning, and she didn't want to have to like walk back all the way to the other side of campus to her dorm with me, you know, where we lived, at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is like completely understandable. She decided to move to a dorm that was closer to her job and to her boyfriend, and most of her friends lived in that dorm too, so I'm like, okay, that makes tons of sense, that's fine. So then she moved out, and then another girl who lived on my floor already moved in with me after that. She and I lived together for the rest of the first semester, and so right before Christmas break she moved and transferred to a school in her home state so that she could play volleyball for that school. So that was 2 roommates that I had my freshman year that just left. And then after that I was on Christmas break and I got an email saying that I had a new roommate, and I don't want to give out her name because this is the girl that stole my stuff. So I don't know, what do we call her? We're just gonna call her Dumbo. That's a good name for her. Dumbo. And it said, Dumbo has moved into your room. And so I was like, oh, this name sounds familiar, because I knew she lived on my floor already. And I was just like, that's weird, I thought she already had a roommate, but like I didn't think much of it. So then when I got back to school after Christmas break, I met Dumbo and all that, and I was just like, oh hey, yeah, cool, we're rooming together now, great. The next day I go and I'm like getting ready to go to class and stuff, and I look in my wallet and there's a $50 bill missing. I didn't want to accuse Dumbo of stealing my money when we just moved into it with each other literally the night before. So just fast forward like a couple of weeks later, she was going out with her friends or whatever that night. She was gonna go to like the club or whatever, and I was just sitting in my room on my futon watching movies, and she was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna be back really late. And then she came back and it was like 4 in the morning, like she really was late, but for some reason I was still up watching movies, like I just wasn't sleepy that night. And when she came in, she looked like surprised to see me, that I was like still awake. She was just like, oh. And I was just like, hey, how was your, you know, time at the club? And she was like, oh, good. But she's like standing behind the chair, like her desk chair, and she's not showing like anything from here underneath. And that was just kind of weird. Like she was talking to me, telling me about the night, but she was not moving. And then I like turned back to my computer and I see her like kind of move to try and get on her bed, and I look back and she's wearing this pair of like black leggings with like leather patches on the knee. And I had the exact same pair that I just bought right before we came back from Christmas break. And so I go, oh, hey, we've got the same leggings. That's cool. And she kind of looks nervous at this point. She's just kind of like, oh, yeah. And I'm just like, bitch, what? So at this point, I'm getting a little suspicious. So then I get up and I go into my drawer. I have tons of leggings. So I had this one drawer specifically for my leggings. And I went in it and I'm looking through it, and I knew they weren't dirty or anything like that. I hadn't even worn them yet. And I can't find them. So I go and I look back at her. I'm like, are those mine? And she's like, no. And she just gets in her bed and like lays down and pretends to go to sleep. And I was just like, so I go out into the hallway and I call my mom and I'm like, Ma, because you know I'm a freshman, I don't know how to deal with anything without my mother yet. I'm like, Mom, I think that Dumbo is stealing my clothes. And she's like, okay, well, in the morning, see if you can find them. So I wake up the next morning and she's like nowhere to be found. She's not in the room. So I call my friend and I tell her what happened, and my friend comes over and she helps me look for them. And so we're like going through like the stuff on her side, and while we're doing that, we find this like treasure chest that she had, and there's a Dunkin' Donuts cup that I had from like weeks ago, and I knew it was mine because like when I go to Dunkin' Donuts I get tons of sugar, and they write funny things on it. They'll like give her cavities, or she wants diabetes, or stuff like that, and that's what it said on the cup. And I had left the cup sitting next to my futon, and one day I came back and it was gone, and I just figured she threw it away for me. She literally kept it, like, and there was still like sweet tea stuck to the side, like dried sweet tea stuck to the side of the cup, and I'm just like, why? Like, what purpose did that serve you? I was so confused. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm super dramatic, and I'm just like, is she trying to clone me? Like, did she want the DNA off of the cup and she like wants to like clone me or something? Like, I was freaked out. So we also found the leggings stuffed behind the drawer, or one of her drawers, and this bitch, like, she's bigger than me. She was like a good like 2 times my size. She fucking ripped the leggings. I didn't want them anyway after she wore them, but like just the fact that she like wore them and then put a hole in them, I was so mad. Like, I paid money for these leggings and they were cute and I wanted to wear them, but this bitch put a hole in them. The girl would not come back in the room like the rest of the day. Like, I woke up at like maybe 10, and that's when we were looking for the leggings. She didn't come back in the room until like maybe 11, 12 o'clock that night. And I was laying in bed and I heard her come in, so I like pretended to be asleep so I could see if she was saying anything to her friends or anything like that. And all she did was like get ready to go out again. I get a text from the friend from earlier that helped me like look for the leggings, and she says, your roommate's here at the club that I'm at. And I was like, you know, texting her back, joking with her. I'm like, oh, hi, is she wearing any of my clothes? And my friend is like, yeah, actually she is. She's wearing that floral shirt of yours. And I was like, bitch, what? So she sends me a picture of her. Like, she took a picture of her on the slide, and she's like wearing my shirt. Like, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the final straw. So I go into her closet and I find 10 other things of mine that she has just taken from me over the past. I think we were only roommates for maybe like 3 weeks at the most. And I'm just like, I go down and I tell my RA, like, look, Dumbo has been stealing my stuff. I just found tons of my clothes in her like closet. I don't know how many more things are in the dirty clothes. We also had this thing at my dorm called the Restore, where you could like sell your clothes and get money for it. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, what if she sold my clothes and got money for it? Like, that's fucked up. Why would you, like, I was freaking out. So my RA is like, okay, well, what would you like to do? And I'm like, I don't want to stay here tonight. Like, I can't see her. Like, I'm just mad. And so what we did was we took most of my stuff and we like moved me to like this little, you know, the isolation room that they put you in when you're having a like a problem with your roommate. So she comes home while I'm moving and she's like, oh, are you leaving? Like, bitch. But she has her jacket like this so that I can't see the shirt that she's wearing that is obviously mine. And I just looked at her and I'm like, really, nigga? You know why I'm leaving. And she was just like, oh my God. So I go and I take all my stuff with me and I call my mom and I tell her what happened. And so my mom's like, oh, hell no. Like, she just took 10 other things of yours? Oh, hell the fuck no. I'm coming down and I'm bringing your aunt with me and we're moving you out of there. And so I was like, all right. So the next day my mom calls me in the morning and she's like, we're here. Let's go. And so my mom and my aunt get out of the car. They're like helping me move my stuff into the car. And then, because they wouldn't have another room for me until Monday. And I was pissed at this point because it's like, she stole my clothes. Why do I have to move out of the room? She should be the one who have to move out of the room. I'm moving my stuff out of Dumbo's room. And then me and my mom go to move the car because we parked, I guess, in a place where you couldn't park. And my aunt stayed behind to like pack some more stuff up. And so this I didn't see, but my aunt tells me, oh, and I forgot to mention that she brought a dude home from the club the night before and they were like in the bed together. So like I said, my aunt was in the room and what she did was like she turned the light off and closed the door, but she stayed in the room. So like my roommate thought that she had left. Oh yeah, my roommate was in the room in the bed with this guy the entire time that we were packing this stuff up, and my aunt kept making like these little sly comments like dirty thieving bitch and all this other stuff. Like, it was just crazy. So anyway, my roommate like pops her head up a little bit like over the bed to see if my aunt left. bitch, I'm still here. Like, don't you ever fucking steal from my niece again, or we gonna have issues, da da da. By the way, my aunt is like 4'2" and she just had knee surgery, so she like hobbles over like this. She's just like, bitch, you think you can fucking, you ain't gonna steal from, like, it was hilarious. So anyway, my roommate Dumbo was just like, oh, like looking like, oh shoot, like she didn't have anything to say. The next couple weeks I like talked to the RA and like the people in the building about like what we're gonna do about this issue with her stealing, and they basically did nothing. Like, they said they were gonna meet with her and her mom, blah blah blah, but like nothing happened. And then eventually, I don't know if she got kicked out for it or if she like left, but after that after my freshman year, I never saw her again, and I don't think she goes to the school anymore. But like when I did see her on campus, I would just glare at her. I would just like make sure I stared her down. She always had this scared look on her face, and I'm like, bitch, you stole from me. Like, I don't understand. But like the kicker is, like I said, she lived on the floor before. I talked to the girl who lived across from me who was friends with her old roommate. I never knew why her old roommate moved out. Like, I didn't even know they were old roommates. I just know she lived on the floor too. And so she's like, yeah, that's the reason why Lexi moved out, because Dumbo was stealing from her too. And I was just like, why didn't you tell me this? Like, if you saw, like, you live right across from me, and if you saw that she moved in with me, why wouldn't you say like, hey, she stole from her old roommate too, so you should probably like keep your stuff on, you know, lockdown or whatever. Like, I was so pissed that this girl literally could have helped me avoid getting my shit stolen and going through this whole process. And I'm just like, really? Like, I just walked away from her. I was just like, okay, thanks, bye. Like, why would you wait until afterwards to tell me that that's what happened to her old roommate? And anyway, so the girl doesn't go to the school anymore. I haven't seen her since. I took the stuff that I found back. I don't know if there was any more. I was really upset about the money, because it's like my mom gave me $50 to go back to school with, just, you know, as a nice gesture. Like, here's an extra $50, and I'm pissed that she basically stole from my mother rather than stealing from me, and that made me more angry than anything else. The Dunkin' Donuts thing is still really confusing to me. Like, I don't know if there's a clone of me somewhere out there now that she tried to, you know, clone me with my DNA from my cup. But if you see another girl walking around that looks like me and she doesn't answer to the name Alay, contact me, let me know, because we got issues. But anyway, so that's the end of my roommate stealing my clothes horror story that I had my freshman year. If you want to see another story, comment down below. Another story that I have in mind is a haunted doll story. When I was younger, we had this doll that we're all 100% pretty sure was possessed. If you want to hear about that story, comment down below and let me know. If you guys have any other video suggestions or any comments you'd like to leave about the story that I just told you at all, let me know in the comments down below as well. If you're not already, subscribe to my channel and you can see more of my sweaty face. And that's pretty much it. Don't forget to thumbs up this video if you liked it, and bye!